welcome to the discussion. To the post. The post discussion. That I always do these introductions so terribly. As soon as I don't have a script, ruined. Freeform. Here we go. Impra ruined. Thank you so much, Joosh. I don't know if I'm ever pronouncing your name right or wrong, but thank you so much for coming on.
Joosh is how I pronounce it. I wouldn't bother trying to pronounce the last half of it, because it just stands for "to be honest, I don't know." But some people try to pronounce it "tbh," which they're not technically wrong.
You're not wrong, but I never thought of it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Names are so complicated, which is why I'm now going to ask you. So, Pebbles, why did you choose the name Pebbles?
Well, it was a gut feeling. I just couldn't think of anything better. I knew that we're playing a small bird-like creature. It doesn't matter that they're part bear. In a way, it was just a small bird to me.
Yeah.
Which, if you've seen my drawings of Pebbles, you'll know that I did not look at an owl bear picture when drawing Pebbles.
You don't need to. If no one's actually seen it before, definitely check out Joosh's Twitter. I follow him, and I absolutely love the artwork. I think you just recently did a new redrawing of the artwork of Pebbles as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So check him out on Twitter. I know I'm gonna get this wrong, but I think it is just it's at Joosh something. I can never remember the last bit.
Underscore TBHIDK.
There you go. If you didn't catch that, I'll put it in the link in the description so that everyone can have a look on YouTube. But yes, no. So you had a gut feeling, and I actually wanted to say something. I wrote it down as a note. You said obviously you said playing cards against the gods or playing cards a lot. Did the campaign in the particular campaign? Did you, instead of having a lot of adversity in combat, did you guys just have more card game based things?
No, not really. There's a lot of combat in this campaign. It's just that I've tried every combat scenario to get people to play cards with me, and it has not often worked out. It's a challenge.
The main reason I'm asking is, as a DM myself, I'm trying to think of different ways to create adversities for my characters. In my first ever campaign that I ran, since like sort of a 3 or 4 month period of trying to find another set, I actually found one local to me. This was before the pandemic, and I was actually able to go to a games table place known as the Games Table, and it honestly, the guy who owns it, he's a massive fan of all sorts of different stuff like this, and he's a fantastic guy. He posted something for me and just said, "Hey, look, this guy just came in. He wants to test out a game. Like some people give it a try." And he even contacted his best mate, and he's like, "Yeah, they've got this thing going on. Come on, check it out." And now I'm really good friends with him. He's plays as Tak Hozu, the beach tiefling or beach tiefling, however you want to pronounce it. I'm adverse to either. But he plays as that character. He's been a playtester for the last 2 years. Honestly, Graham is a fantastic player, but it was that thing of when all of them played together. The closest thing that I had, other than like combat, was when they went gambling, and Dr. Satine just did dice rolls, and it was like, I've got to pair a load of dice. I can gamble our way through. And they never used them any further than once, and it was such a shame.
Yeah. I luckily I bring up cards like every scenario, so I make sure to get my money's worth, I guess.
No, no, good, good. I had another thing actually on here. I actually was going to make a Yu-Gi-Oh reference, but I thought I'd leave it out of the actual Campfire storytelling. It's just I'm going to tell you the tale of this, and I just halfway through go, "Oh, cactus, that reminds me a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh." I feel
I
like that
have
would ruin
never
the pace
watched
a little.
I have never watched Yu-Gi-Oh, but I've definitely seen clips.
You don't really need to any further than basically imagine if you've seen anything on Pokemon where they're like, hey, every scenario can be solved with a Pokemon battle. Basically, replace the word Pokemon battle with cards, and that's it. Literally, it's just like, oh, I challenge you to a duel because that you didn't pay your rent on time. Wait, what? I swear that's actually something that happens. I mean, if I'm not wrong, I think there's actually one where they go, yes, we're going to play a card game, and oh, if you lose, I'm going to set you on fire with these flamethrowers built into this giant machine that we're both playing on. And it's like, who built this? Like, why? This is so dangerous.
Welcome to Cooking with Cards, where we cook while playing cards.
Welcome to Flames Against Humanity, where we're going to burn you if you fail.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's immediately what came to my mind. Is just your character's logic is well, everything can be solved with a good old card game. Just starts going, how about Go Fish?
Yeah. No, I mean, just I don't see why it wouldn't work. It hasn't, but I don't see why it wouldn't.
No. I mean, what was your thought process when you first came up with that? Was it something in the actual story? The DM said, "Oh, by the way, you're all playing as card players," or is it just your character's personal goal?
It's really just my character's personal goal is to, they want to play cards with the gods. Uh, I have it written down as become a god themselves, but that's just one step in order to get to playing cards with the gods.
But being a god is just like the reason, the how to get to the gods, so I can play cards with them.
Right. Me and my DM talked about what would happen if Pebbles ever got access to Wish. And like obviously their wish would be to play cards with the gods. And so the way the DM described it is if it happened, they would have to play like one round of cards with Pebbles, but then they just hunt down Pebbles until Pebbles is dead.
Wow.
Just because all the gods in this realm hate each other, and they've been forced to spend time with each other because of this small bird that wanted to play cards.
I love that. That's great. I mean, what greater goals than just I want to play cards, and then just it turns into okay, well now the literal beings of the cosmic forces are coming to get you because how dare you make us play cheat?
Yeah.
I've got a few more card game references. That's about it. I have Go Fish, cheat, poker. Oh no, I'm starting to use them up. It's that moment where it's just like Pebbles is just up there in the heavens, just going, "All right, here we go. It's time to play some blackjack."
Una!
Una.
Yeah. It's
But yeah, no, I really quite like the aspect of that though. I also just want to throw this out there. Your character is the second, if not third, character who has ever been a Queequeg. I've never heard of them until I think it might have either been Joe Cat or Cookie. It was one of the two of them because I can't remember if it is on the many races on Joe Cat's Guide to D&D. But yeah, before if not in there, it was definitely when Cookie explained to me what a Queequeg was. I was like, oh, what's that? And it's like, oh, it's kind of like this bird / bear. It's like a sort of humanoidish sort of bird. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's so cool. That's so cute, and that's so cool.
I love them. At around like level 8, they gain a racial feat where they can essentially turn into a normal owlbear.
Ooh.
Uh, they go up a size and they can do more attacks and stuff. I haven't gotten to that point yet. Pebbles is only level 4,
But
but
soon,
so
soon, my pet. Soon I will feed you the world. I mean, how long have you been playing as Pebbles then?
not very long. It's only been probably I'd say a couple months
Oh wow,
because
okay, so relatively fresh.
yeah, this is believe it or not, this is actually like my first like full campaign that I'm in. I've only ever done like 1 shots or 2 shots. So
No,
yeah,
that's really cool. I mean, you said before we started recording, you said that you'd only started like last year.
yeah. It's just it's I've been on this wild ride of D&D.
You
And
started at a good time though. I mean, especially because
I
we've got amazing people like Cowboy Shane, Ditter, and obviously if anyone again needs to know more, they can watch the Crap Guide to D&D by Joker. And obviously you got
yeah.
Dingo Doodles as well. You got so many amazing people out there. I know that there's tons more, but there's a
We could go on and on listing.
name dropper. But no, you came at a good time. Like you definitely started at a good time.
Yeah, I feel like Aiden was kind of the one who just like brought me in to like the community. Is it's been a wild ride.
Aiden was the person I watched his videos because I met him on a podcast that I was doing with Des from the 12D20, a small little sort of YouTube channel, and we did a podcast together. And I was watching some of his videos because I'd never heard of him before. And afterwards, I was like, instantly, I watched one video. It made me laugh once, and I was like, subscribe, watching all of his videos. And I think it's the one where he's talking about characters doing decisions that didn't really make any sense. And it was just this moment where he just goes, like, this goblin doesn't like elves, and the rogue just goes, don't worry, I've got an idea, I'm going to jump in. And he goes, well, first of all, you're going through in plain sight. Stealth isn't going to really work. Second, you're trying to walk in. And third, you're an elf. What did you think was going to happen? I mean, it's like, fair enough, you're not visibly an elf, but if he finds out, that's it, game over. And I laughed. I laughed so hard that I had to like rewind a few seconds because I laughed so hard I couldn't hear the rest of what he was saying. Just like you're an elf. But no, so yeah, he's brilliant. So yeah, no, he got you into D&D, so to speak.
Yeah, he brought me in because he followed me on Twitter, and I just kept one after another meeting everyone else, getting invited to streams, and now I'm here. You know.
Yep, rock bottom. I'm kidding. Your artwork is gonna get you places. This won't hurt your career.
I don't think it will. I think this will boost my career. I think this is
by all of like 7 people. I'm kidding. Hopefully more people watch them.
That's still 7 more people.
There you go. I mean, the reason, as I said to you, the reason as to why I'm doing this is just more so that more people can tell their stories that not everyone got to see or hear from. Because this is just, again, this is just a look back on storytelling in general. I mean, a character in a world where it's all about magic and fighting and survival. He brings some cards. Okay, so he brings some cards. What's his greatest ambition? To play cards with the gods. And my favourite part of all of this wackiness is that for once, it's not a character who is trying to become on the level of a god, to kill them or just to be, yeah, I just want to be omnipotent, and also just a bonus, not a human. I might be a bit of a human racist when it comes to D&D characters. I'm so sorry to whoever plays elves or humans. You're boring.
There's 2 humans in my party, so
I'm not taking it back.
sorry, Leomund and Atlas. So sorry to you two.
Wait, hang on a sec. They might be able to redeem themselves. What? Like as if they're gonna care what I think. No. What classes do they play as?
Leomund is a barbarian. I do not remember the subclass. I'm very bad at remembering the subclass. But they are a big sweetheart. They work for the military, but and so we're kind of just following their plot around at the moment because that's
okay.
that's where the story's at.
You're not selling me, but hey, if you say military but also a sweetheart, that's intrigue, and I like it. As I've said many times before, and I'll say it again, I'm a massive fanboy of almost every and any single character, as long as it has at least something that makes it 3-dimensional. As I said, humans and fighters are really a boring combination, and I'm not a big fan of humans in general, just because they are the more boring races, especially because they always get the spotlight. But if you make an interesting, in-depth character, it's fantastic. That's why I said Pebbles being this cute little owl creature is a bonus, because I mean I still just like the story of Pebbles in general.
Yeah. Now, Atlas, I don't know that much about. I think they're a sorcerer. I can't remember.
Ooh, that's not good.
It's not good. Atlas and Pebbles need to have more interactions. It's we haven't interacted enough.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, the first ever and at the moment the only character I've ever played as in D&D was a human druid, and the only reason I had to play as a human druid was purely because I was having to play as a human druid because I was playing as Sir Bedivere from Monty Python, because Des were doing a Monty Python themed one shot. So yeah, that's the only reason I got to play as anything. So I was like, yay, I get to play D&D. Oh man, human. However, I got to play alongside the legendary Puffin Forest as he played as a commoner, and he had these coconuts who were just clacking them, and it's just pretending to be a horse. In game, who's pretending to be a commoner who was pretending to be a horse for as he carried everyone's things. He had a slingshot. Oh, honestly, please, everyone who watches this, watch that stream. I will try and find it and try and repost it, but it is brilliant only because of he is so funny.
I don't know if I've seen. I need to see that. It sounds so fun.
We did a few podcasts with them as well. Honestly, Puffin Forest is brilliant when he comes up with characters, because he is just that guy who creates troll or self-troll characters. I was actually going to ask you, for Pebbles specifically, has Pebbles ever nearly... Well, you said nearly has been downed. Has Pebbles actually gone down before, gone unconscious?
Only one person in our party has gone unconscious, which was Voltaire, the hobgoblin fighter, to a crawling claw. Like a CR1, very, very weak creature.
Wow, okay.
But Pebbles has on so many occasions almost been eaten by like sea serpents, frogs, slime. The table mimic would have eaten if I had stuck around any longer.
Starting to salivate, specifically in your direction. Just, why is this table starting to slobber?
Yeah. But yeah, Pebbles has almost died so many times. They're mainly they're pretty much the ranger of the party, because
I was gonna say, like, here's one. What is the one way that you have nearly gone down that you just thought, please no, Don't let me die like this. Don't let me go out this way.
Well, let's see. I Like I said, most of them are almost being eaten. But I'd say the first time Pebbles was in like real danger was with the skeleton. This is when Voltaire was downed uh, by the crawling clot. Pebbles was off in a different hallway fighting a single skeleton and losing. Was at 1 HP and there was a cliff. Now, we have like a climbing speed of like 25 feet or whatever. And so I started to climb down the cliff because like, oh, surely it can't get me when I'm on the cliff.
Yeah, surely.
Because skeletons can't climb. Everyone knows this. Then the skeleton pulled out its bow, which I forgot it had.
Oh no, it's got range. It doesn't need to get to you.
Yeah, and that was when I was like, don't let me die like this. I barely managed to survive by like shooting it with my own bow and killing it. I then proceeded to climb up, and I was like, "Hey DM, could I search this skeleton to see if it has like a health potion on it?" Since I'm sitting at 1 HP. He's like, "Well, if you roll a D100 and you roll high enough, then you'll get a health potion." I rolled a 69. That was not high enough.
Oh no. I would have done it just for the sake of memes alone.
Yeah, I know, but like, sadly, I just slumped against the corner of the cavern walls that we were in, and just hid as best as I could,
hoping
until combat was over.
Oh no, that is a shame. I absolutely love that, to be fair. I think the most embarrassing death or near death we've ever had is one of my players killed themselves, not on purpose. They attempted to do something really cool and it ended up literally killing them in the most hilariously obvious way. I'm not going to go into detail only because that might be coming up in an episode at some point. All I will say is it is one of the regulars that I have on the Power podcast that we have. Sam, he made a character and it happened to that character. So I don't know if he'll tell the story of that, but if he does, that is one I'd like. But another one, which is actually the most embarrassing character getting downed, is most recently we're doing a campaign where they're in a desert and it's a war zone, and there's this one character who has this ability to make explosions come from them, like literal beams of concussive force, and their range is like 60 meters, and it's like a huge distance, but they can also like make explosions to make themselves float and fly, so giving them better range, better verticality up in the air. And they see this guy coming towards them, and he's got like pretty decent speed, and he instantly takes down one of the party members that jumps at him, and he's got these two swords and instantly just goes slash over their chest, practically one-shots them. Doesn't kill them, but they go down, and they've like got a bleeding injury and all this stuff. So this player decides, okay, so I've got range, I've got about 30 meters away from them. I'm gonna run up to this guy and punch him. What? No! And then just gets taken down in 2 hits, because he has a special reaction where if he succeeds with both of the rolls that he has to roll for, he can land 2 separate attacks in 1 reaction. So instantly just, boom, dodges the fist, punches into the stomach, and then grinds his hand up with the sword sticking out of the bottom of his hand. As he grinds it up, the sword slashes and cuts open his chest. There's that thing of instantly just gets taken down. I was just like, you had range! You had range! I thought the entire time, yeah, this guy isn't going to be too powerful, because they have the range character. Never mind. Someone save them! It did work out in the end though, because we had a character who had like super hard skin. Turns out the mini boss that I threw at them, his swords couldn't break through the armor that this guy's skin was, so they had to just talk it out, and eventually a good enough charisma roll made him go away. Kind of anticlimactic, really.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any of those kind of moments in any of your games yet? Like a big sort of boss has been defeated in a sort of really anticlimactic way?
Well, we so on the ferry, after the the abandoned monastery, after we finally destroyed the crystal, which was the solution, once the party had dealt with all the fire hands, they eventually helped me with that. I could not roll. I could not roll anything but a 13. I was. This was like on roll 20. It was painful.
Yeah, that sounds it.
We got attacked by like a gargantuan sea serpent, and the start of the round, the sea serpent grabs pebbles with its mouth and starts to try and eat pebbles, as has happened many a times.
I'm starting to believe you more and more now.
Yeah.
I believed you before, but now it's like, oh geez.
Luckily, in the monster, we found some magic items, and one of them, one that I had on me, was a sword called the Serpent's Carver. Which essentially how it works is the bigger the monster, the more damage it does, like the higher dice you roll.
Yeah.
And so it's like a fitting name. Stabs it in the mouth. And then we almost took it out within 2 turns of combat, but then it ran away.
Ow. Was that? Do you think that was your DM just going, no, I don't want you to kill it yet, or was it actually just more to do with they were trying to save you in case of like it rolled for something better? What do you think it was?
I think it was the DM just didn't want us to kill it yet. Because I was out of the mouth by the point of it running away. But yeah, how we were finding the monsters, we rolled like a D20, and the DM had a chart. And previously, like a couple of weeks before, he had said, "Oh, this thing's on the list," but I doubt that you guys will end up getting it.
Never. Rookie mistake.
Dude, that's like the only thing he revealed to us on the list, and that's like the one thing that shows up.
I said to my party, we were doing this thing called the 8 C's, and I've done 2 of them now. One where they were the good guys, one where they're actually bad guys. They're all villains, criminals, and they're becoming pirates. And I do this thing where I roll a D100, and it's like, oh, even numbers, a good thing happens, odd numbers, bad thing happens. Any of these specific numbers, and then one of these encounters. And I've got like different ones, like merchant shows up, so you can actually buy and sell stuff. Another pirate team that's just random pirates shows up or whatever. So if I'm ever going, I'll give them a sort of like day where they can just do whatever, and nothing to do with the main campaigns or main part of the quest, so they can just go out and do whatever. So I just roll for stuff. And there's 2 big ones. There's one that's like a water goddess that lives in the deep depths of the oceans, but she can like emerge every now and again, and depending on how much bloodlust the crew has will depend on whether or not she sees you positively or negatively. And it's that thing of like, it's not necessarily you have to fight her or anything, it's just that thing of like, she can either like help you out in a situation, or she can actually just hinder it by going like, oh, like, you're being attacked. Yeah, we are. Cool. Yeah, I'm not going to help you. In fact, and then just basically like brings another sea monster to the location that you are, and it's like, yeah, fight these 2 at the same time. Or obviously, it really depends on how well you treat her. But the other one was a kraken, and they never got to fight the kraken, but I made a new list in the new sea that they were in, and I thought, yeah, they'll never come up against this. and everyone will know this. The last thing that they saw, because due to some scheduling stuff, we actually haven't been able to go back to it. The last thing they saw was that thing, number 88, island jellyfish.
Oh.
And they're these big, like, bioluminescent green jellyfish that can be either the size of a car at smallest, or they can be quite literally the size of a small island. And one emerged, and it was 2 times the size of their ship, and just knocked them out of the ocean. A ton of them who have like superpowers that allows them to like generate stuff had to like blast out a specific direction so that then the ship would be rotated in midair so that it could go back, hit the surface of the water, and they'd be fine. Half of the others get flung out of the ship, and one of them, who's telekinetic, grabs all of them in midair and it's like, so this is an island jellyfish. Boom, ends. They have not come back to it in about like 4 or 5 months, and they're all just like, oh man, I can't wait to come back to that. At some point we will do that. I absolutely love that. But yeah, so when I say this, definitely tell your DM to remember this. Never bank on, oh yeah, well I doubt that's going to happen, a 1 in 20 chance, because I said it's a 1 in 100 chance and they still got it. So you're saying there's a chance is more than real, my friend.
Yeah. Funnily enough, one of the gods in this world is essentially the Kraken. Their name is that below the seas, and one of our newest party member, Mips, the goblin cleric, worships them.
That is cool.
And so how they send letters to that below the seas through like paper boats.
Okay.
And then my Pebbles saw that and instantly asked them to send a card game request. Of which they did. I haven't gotten a reply yet.
Keep waiting on it. Keep waiting on it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get to just ascend to the heavens, it would just be great. It's just like, and now we come to the multinational championship. We have Pebbles. We have this demon that Pebbles has seen grow up. We now have this large kraken that seems to be the god of the deep. What next? Honestly, it would just be great if it was just like an ambassador Asimar that just came on down, and then you've just got like, and here's Glurg, the war chief of goblins, that was resurrected by one of the party members accidentally. Just all of these weird encounters. You just got a massive table, and it's like, and what's the game, Pebbles, today? Uno.
Yeah, my mind also went to Uno.
I don't know why. I was thinking, oh yeah, this is setting up like a poker table. Uno.
Yeah.
No, the last thing I was actually going to say was actually the one of the last things that you said, which was the low rolls. Like, you actually mentioned it again earlier just now. You kept getting 13s, and if any of my players are listening to this, which I'm sure at least a couple of them are, they're just going to be like, oh, I hate how relatable this is.
Yeah.
Our system is similar to that. It's based on that. Where it's like,
Right.
you make abilities of your own, and it's like, oh, you have downsides, weaknesses, or even like role requirements are higher, and they go up by an increment. It's like, oh, well, 10 is the main basic, and then it goes 15, 20, 25, and then after 25 it goes up by 1 instead, so it goes 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. But when you got these,
Right.
it's this thing of, wow, okay, I could make an ability that has, like a special ability that has 8 different effects, but I need to roll a 30, and if you have a modifier any less than that, then you can't make it. If you have a modifier of 10 plus or above, it's that thing of, I need to get a natural 20, or I need to get a higher modifier, and sometimes you just can't get it any higher than that. So it's like that thing of like, if I get a natural 20, this effect works. Most of my players try and play it safe, where they only have one ability, and it's a 15 or above requirement, and they can never get it off.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
no, go on.
The worst part was that it wasn't just me rolling flat 13s. It was me doing different rolls, and they'd always end up as 13.
That hurts more. I mean, it's funny, but it
Yeah,
hurts more.
I literally had advantage for one roll and rolled two 13s.
That hurts me.
I at the end, and the DM asked me to roll. I roll a 13. He's like, "No, roll again."
You know it's upsetting for the DM. Either it's worrying because they think that your ability is the only way that you can get out of it, or it's that thing of they feel that bad for you that they're just like, no, just roll again, just try again. I say that because I've done that. I've been that DM where I just go, yeah, you can roll. You know what? I'll give you an advantage, and it just comes out really bad. My favorite one was I think it was either last week or the week before. I said, okay, you got an advantage, and they rolled two dice and they got two 15s, and it's like, well, advantage was practically useless.
Yeah.
Oh no. So any last extra things that you wanted to talk about from the previous story?
Well, I was like, where the campaign last left off will be resuming tomorrow because we play on Saturdays, and we're recording this on a Friday.
Yes, we are behind the veil.
Yes, behind the veil. We have killed a pack of wolves with the dire wolves, and they had like a ice wolf, elemental wolf leader. And so now we have this wolf hide that is resistant to cold damage.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it is so cool, but I guess it actually keeps you very warm.
Yeah.
I'm not apologising for that, but
no, it's.
I mean, well, I hope all goes well on your next session. I mean, it sounds like Pebbles is doing well, is keeping healthy. Hopefully,
Pebbles is still alive.
Yeah, Pebbles
almost
is still
dies
alive.
every combat. Just point it out.
Oh, no.
I luckily I can do wild shapes, and that gives me like some bonus HP as I am turning into an animal of some kind.
Well, hey there. That seems to be good. What do you often turn into?
Usually a spider, which has like 5 HP or something. I think it has less than that, but
I'll take it. But I mean, you could be something better. Did I stutter?
Well, like it's good for stealthing around, and other than that, I've turned into a weasel in a tavern to like dance around and get some coin, put on a show. During the wolf fight, before the fight actually started, I rolled like a nat 20 on initiative, and so what I did was I turned into a wolf. And it's like, hello, hey, you want to play cards?
I don't know why I thought you were just suddenly going to burst out into like a sort of almost an absurd accent. Hello, I would like to very much play some cards with you. Would you like to play some cards with me?
Hello, everyone. Would you like to play cards with me? Yes.
It just genuinely just reminds me of some of the silly voices I've done in a lot of my games. The worst voice I have done ever, that was the worst, was one because I do quite a lot of deep voiced or gruffly ones because I don't like doing a lot of too silly ones. But I do like doing silly ones. I just don't like doing them on the live sessions because I always think I don't know how long I can keep this going. Absolute worst one was I had two characters who had very similar accents. I'd done it again in the live stream, but I'm hoping that I can get away with it. But it was like, I had two different characters who sort of sounded like this, so I had to give the other one an accent, but I couldn't figure out what the accent was. So it's like, oh, don't worry, chap. No, don't worry. Let me help you. And the other one obviously spoke a little bit more like this. And I just, the entire time, and the dumbest thing I've ever done is put them in the same building. They work in the same location. And fair enough, they do two different things, but everyone would go to both characters at both the same time, because one was the tailor and the other one was the gadgeter. So it's just like, oh, yes, can I help you today? Oh, yes, well, I've got this lovely tailor suit. I could also see if I could seam some things together just for you. You could also go upstairs and speak to Mardi Gras. He does all sorts of different things. Hello there, chap. What would you like? Some boots that can help you jump higher? Oh, don't worry, lad. I'll get on that on right now. And yeah, it's been a long lockdown. I've been so alone.
Oh yeah, I feel like I do Waluigi's voice a lot, which is also kind of just the Skeletor skeleton voice.
Yeah, He-Man. It is I, Skeletor.
So what is the usual voice? Do you do a voice for Pebbles when you play as them?
Pebbles is like kind of like more hype. Well, not as high pitched as that what I just did, but soft. Like,
Hello, my name's Pebbles.
that's
I love
that's
him.
generally yeah. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I think the weirdest voice I've ever done for any playable character, any character that I've played as, was I tried to play. So I played as a character called Simon Lime, and
Love the name.
Simon Lime, best character ever, and I'll tell you why. His name is a hint as to what his powers are, because some people just call him Mr. Lime, but others, his official name is S as in Simon Lime, and they just shorten it to S Lime. His power is slime mimicry, and he can turn his entire body into slime. So he can basically be unharmed by physical attacks. However, he can still be set on fire, frozen, and electrocuted, and all that lot. But since he's like this amorphous mass of gel and slime, he can get away with taking like no physical damage. So he can be in a fight and be absolutely fine. He has like one arm because of something that happened to him during a fight, and his best friend is a hybrid pig creature called Porkins. My brother came up with these creatures, these anthropials known as porkers. Love them to pieces, but Porkins could only speak one language, so my character had to kind of learn it. So he spoke the common language, and my brother's character Porkins spoke the anthropial language of the porkers known as Swinese. And the funniest moment is just like when everyone's like walking in, it's like, so what is your character, Joe? I said, obviously it's Simon Lime, and I just said, well, he's a good character. Like he's got kindness as his main sort of virtue, and his vice is gluttony. So he really loves eating, and he loves eating a lot. And we got into this moment, and it's just like when he first spoke, it was like, "Hello there," and everyone was just like, "Why does he sound so creepy?" It's like, because he's Simon Lime. He's a really nice guy, but he sounds really slimy. Don't worry me, and he just slicks back his hair, but there was no hair gel in that hair when he first put his hand over his head, and it's that thing of just like, "Don't worry, I'll help you, of course." And ever since then, that's just my Simon Lime voice.
Absolutely wonderful.
Well, thank you very much, Joosh, for coming on the show. Thank you so much. Honestly, it's been awesome hanging out with you and chatting everything.
This has been very fun.
No, I'm glad. Get to hear about Pebbles, and I guess we got to shoot the shit. But yeah, thanks again, anyone who's watching. You can check us out on YouTube at the Baitarians. I am at Animite Tales, also known as Ongoer Joe, on Twitter. You can also check out Joosh on Twitter. What is your Twitter handle for those?
My Twitter handle is Joosh_TBHIDK. That is not a last name or something. Don't try to pronounce it. It just stands for, to be honest, I don't know. So
And there we go. There we go. So if you wanna see any of it, I definitely recommend, because you sometimes do commissions, don't you? Like artwork.
yeah.
So if anyone's interested, obviously when Joosh is open to doing commissions, definitely check him out. And obviously keep following him, because he's got some interesting opinions. But yeah, no, honestly, thanks again for coming on, and thanks for everyone for listening. It's been fantastic, and hopefully maybe we'll see you again when you've got some more stories for us about Pebbles.
Absolutely, yes.
Or if you
Maybe
just want to hang out on another podcast or anything.
yeah, no, absolutely. Maybe next time we'll talk about Rory Blackweather and the adventure of the two shot that Shane was in.
Ooh, yes, I would like to hear that.
Of course, I feel like Rory didn't do too much in like the actual session because they were the life domain cleric. They were the healer.
Yeah.
So yeah, they mainly healed, but so I'd have to like talk about the entire party.
Yeah, again, as I said, it's either about characters' favorite moments, or just some things that you really liked about the actual storytelling or character development aspects of something that happened in a campaign. So you don't have to fret about that. Honestly, it has been amazing talking about just a little elderly boy trying to play cards, trying to get some buddies, trying to play cards with the best of them. So hearing about the two shot that you guys did, and just seeing and hearing any of your guys' different experiences through you would be fantastic. So yeah, it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing about Pebbles, you were talking about languages. Pebbles has currently 4 languages, but when we reached level 4, I was debating taking. I was stuck between. Let's see. It was linguistic, which you gain like 3 more languages, and a Fey touched, which was what Fey touched would be more useful for like combat, and linguist would just be fun to have.
Omnilinguistics is so boring. Having the ability to have the knowledge of multiple linguistics is so much more fun, because it's that thing of, oh, okay, I've got to choose these different ones. I think that's something we talked about in a podcast way earlier, which is something that we were talking about. Like, now we don't like omnipotent abilities. We really love the ones that have limits, and it's that thing of multiple languages versus all languages. It's like, well, that's just so much cooler, because there's a gap in your knowledge. So you are a tool belt rather than, oh, the guy who's going to solve everything, the guy who knows everything. So, yeah, I mean, what did you go for in the end? Did you go for Fey Touch or more language?
I did go for Fey Touch simply because of how Fey Touch, you get a free cast of Misty Step once per day, as well as another level 1 spell. And I was really going back and forth, but then the player who plays Leomund came up to me and told me of the spell Comprehend Language. So it's just like, why not both scenario? And another thing about Pebbles, they have a feat called Observant, where essentially they have a very high perception of about 24, and they can lip read anybody as long as they can see them and know their language.
That's such a good ability. Like,
yeah,
that's another thing that like fascinates me. I mean, obviously you were probably bored to death about us talking about this, but on the other day we streamed our podcast on weaknesses, and we were talking about like the really nuanced weaknesses, and it's like, this is why they're so much cooler than power nullification, because you have to think your way around it. It's never about all of these different things. But the opposite can be said about special abilities, like, as you said, decent perception plus comprehend languages, or at least having knowledge of a language.
Yeah. So essentially, the DM is going to have problems hiding things from my character.
I see all.
Like, if anything's trying to get the jump on us, they'd probably have to be invisible to actually get us.
I guess I have to ask the meme question at this point. Does Pebbles have dark sight?
Yes, they do. they have dark vision. They can see about 60 feet in the dark, which is very useful.
Cool. That is really useful. That's brilliant. We've got a race in Animite Tales that actually have dark vision, and so many people are like, why do we have that? That seems like so useless in a game with superpowers. It's like, okay, how many situations do you think that you would have to be in if you suddenly had to be in a situation at nighttime? You are able to be much stealthier than everyone else, and you have the ability to see in the dark. What scenario would be really good for you to be in? And I couldn't think of anything. The dark. You could be in a dark alley at night or in a dark room, and they can't see you. You can see them, and just ultimate stealth machine. Why? What? I love it. It's just some people don't see that way, and others see just so many different ways. My brother is like a genius engineer when it comes to like mechanics. He'll figure a way around a mechanic, or even figure a way to bolster another mechanic thanks to like the two being placed together. I can't remember what they're really called, which is the worst. I don't know why I can't think of them. Either way, cooperative situations. But yeah, it's just so good, and he's really good with that. Because there was a moment where he just went, "Yeah, I just got these two abilities. This character has like Phoenix physiology and super strength. Photonic empowerment. So it's like whenever he's in light, he can absorb light into his body, sort of like he's photosynthetic, and he can become bigger and stronger. When he's in his hybrid mode, so he's half man, half Phoenix, he got this perk that grants him this ability called Born from Flame. A Phoenix, when they get this, they have immunity to fire damage, so like no fire can ever harm them again. So he got this, plus he got this other ability where light and physical damage he has a resistance to. And I started realizing, oh, he's now got 3 damage resistances to some of the most common damage types in all games: physical, fire, and radiant or light. And it's that thing of, well, yep, now it's I couldn't really throw anything at him without, as I said before, throwing random things at him that seemed kind of like, yeah, this guy uses lightning. Why though? Yeah, he just uses it. Don't ask questions. He has lightning. But yeah, that's the laziest one he's done. He's done some incredible ones that are just fantastic. I remember he just went, yeah, I'm just going to use nullification with negation stare and ocular powers, so I can see something about 200 20 kilometers away through every single rock, mountain and building, and I can then use negation stare and nullify their powers from 20 kilometers. I was like, what? Okay. And he said, yeah, I can also do this from the other side of a city. And he said, if I have a powerful enough sniper rifle, I could just pick someone off from like a couple of kilometers away. Oh, well, yeah, you could do that. And yeah, he named this character a nickname, Cheaty McCheatface, because no one could ever beat him.
Very nice. I'd say my dream power, if I had a power, would be I watched Blue's Clues as a kid, and just the power to jump into like any like painting or like video.
Do I have the power for you, sir? We've got so many abilities that that is actually a thing. We literally just made that recently, actually.
Really?
It's called 3-dimensional transference. It's part of a spatial ability. So we have a couple of different abilities that can manipulate the fabric of space. And one is where your body can actually become part of space. And the level 10 ability, you can choose one of these 3 different ones, and it's like one of them is called 3-dimensional transference. You can pull objects from a picture and make it real, or you could go into it and it's another alternate dimension that is depicted in that picture, and you can even bring things back with you when you go into that alternate dimension as well.
Yes.
So you could literally do that. We've never tested it.
What I'd say the weakness is someone destroys where you're in, you're stuck. You can't...
Yeah. I mean, one would hope that there's a picture of something similar to something where it's like, oh, I can get through this way, and then maybe I think someone said this. It's like we could have it where you're not the picture isn't. If the picture is destroyed, you're not gone. But instead, like, it's like, oh no, there's an alternate reality. So I go through this picture that would be definitively in this reality. And it's like, yes, but it would be, you'd be then going through another picture dimension. You wouldn't be going back to your original dimension. It's like, just an infinite loop of just confusing, like, brain hurty.
So if you had a camera and you took a picture of the place you were standing, and then you hopped into the painting, if you hopped into the picture, you wouldn't be in the same dimension. You'd be in the dimension of the picture.
Exactly, yes. Even if it would be an exact copy and pasted dimension, it would be a different dimension.
Wonderful. I could already imagine like an art thief villain who literally just takes the stuff out of the art. He kidnaps the Mona Lisa.
No, the greatest evil ever is just he's a tourist taking pictures of loads of different art. And then when he gets home, he just pulls the pictures out of... He just like pulls the art out of the pictures. Like, haha, copied version of the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
That's just awful. That's terrible. So stay tuned for when we become villains, when we get our powers.
Yeah, I mean, really... The fact that you could just draw like gold or something, as an artist, if I had that power, I'd be very powerful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, hey, if you ever want to do a one shot or any campaigns with us, the table is, well, the proverbial table is always open. But yeah, no. Well, thanks again for coming on. It's been a really interesting and very insightful chat, to be fair. I've learned a lot more about Queequees than I thought I would have. But I've also learned a lot about exactly what kind of characters you make and exactly what you see in them. So it'd be really interesting to see what you bring to us next time. If you want to come back on another time.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
No, I'm glad. Any last messages to send out to the people who might be watching or listening to this?
Watch this content, follow everyone who's been mentioned here, and have a nice day.
Well, that's nice. And as I said before, have a great night. The only reason I say that is because it's currently pitch black outside. But
Yeah.
Thanks again, Joosh, for joining me, and thanks again for any of you who are listening. And hopefully you'll have a nice, warm, and adventurous storytelling evening.
May the warmth of the fire keep you in comfort.
Thanks again for joining us. Good night. Ciao, ciao for now.
Yep. Bye, everyone.